Natty,
Hey, Alice.
here's a question. Why should people know if they're sensed? Why is that an important thing to understand?
That is a good question.
So, in my experience, having sat with a lot of clients who are sensed, and of course being sensed myself from birth, so one of the indigo children, what I know is that most of us spend most of our lives either trying to gain acceptance from the five sensed or trying to explain ourselves to the five sensed or trying to understand the five sensed. But a lot of our trauma in childhood or even later in life comes from the unknowing interaction with five sensed individuals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay.
The very first key step to healing any trauma or any dis-ease, really, the first step is to accept it all exactly as it is.
Right.
And that can mean a meaningful analysis of yourself. It can mean an objective assessment of the people in the situation or the situation itself or yourself.
Mm-hmm. Just accepting what it is for what it is.
Exactly. Because if you want to heal something, you've got to know what you're healing first, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if I'm here and I'm struggling and there's all this emotional overwhelm and there's this noise, if I don't know that I am sixth-sensed, then I'm missing a really big chunk of the situation.
Correct.
Here I am, let's say, I'm the subject. I feel like I've been confused all my life. I've been different. Never fitted in really. I'm emotional and maybe out of kilter. And if I accept that I am sixth-sensed and that those I'm dealing with are five-sensed, that gives me a key to something. I want to tell you this from the soul of my being, from everything I know. Please know, without judgment, that the five-sensed will never understand you and your life. They will never comprehend what you go through. They will never understand you. Just as we will never quite understand the five-sensed. We will never know what it is to live. Like, I can sit here now and tell you that I do not understand the life of a person who's been blind from birth. I have no concept of that. I have no idea what it is to live without one of my senses. No idea. And as much as that's true, it is also true that the five sensed that you know and maybe love can never truly comprehend what it is to live your life. I know it sounds out there, but once you get that, once you sit with that for a while and you really understand it without judgment, there is a relief and a calm that comes with that, that does a lot of the healing just in itself.
Absolutely. And it's nothing personal. It's just how it is.
That's it. So when you were surrounded by people who looked at you like you were crazy or they didn't understand you, as Nati says, not personal. They just truly didn't understand you. They truly did not understand where you were coming from or what it was to live your life. And they don't today. So in the world today, there is a whole section of the population that we, the sixth sense, look at and we can't see around that corner. We cannot possibly understand why they do what they do, how they respond in the ways that they respond. And I think it's important, and it saves us a lot of heartache if we look at them not with judgment, but with clarity, that They are living an entirely different human experience. And I'll go in at some point into some of the reasons why some people remain five-sensed while others evolve into their sixth sense. But if we are born sixth-sensed and we've lived as indigo children and we've grown into our adult selves as sixth-sensed individuals, we've never lived a five-sense life. We've never lived a five-sensed human experience. And so we have no way. There's just no reference point. We don't understand what motivates them, and we can't predict what they're going to do next. That's pretty scary.
Mm-hmm.
In the same, you can't. They're unpredictable to us. In the same way, we are unpredictable to them.
Correct.
So yes, lovelies, it is important that you know that you're sixth sense, because with that piece of information comes some certainty and some understanding that you won't get to any other way. And the sixth sense people around you may have had a totally different sixth sense experience, but they will be able to relate to a lot of things that you have experienced. So really, find your peeps. As much as the whole of humanity is endowed with souls, and as much as we wish the best for the five-sensed, and we hope that they join a meditation class and elevate into a sixth sense experience, wish them all the best. But from where we are, as sixth sensed human beings, we cannot understand them, we cannot predict their behavior, and so they're an anomaly. But also we should stop spending so much of our time and our attention on trying to gain their approval and understanding. They are not going to understand us until they get there. Like that song.
Yeah.
See you when you get there.
Yeah. And it's okay. It's perfectly fine not to understand. There's nothing wrong with it. They're not gonna get there, and you're not gonna get there for them. So just accept it.
And let me give you one practical example. So if you go and see a psychologist, for example, and I'm not dissing psychology at all, and there are some amazing Gabor Mate I've mentioned before, someone I admire greatly. There are some amazing psychologists who really take their work seriously, but they are, in my opinion, sixth sense beings. As a sixth sense person, if I ever wanted to refer someone, one of my clients, to a psychologist, I would absolutely make sure that it was a sixth sense person, because only a sixth sensed psychologist would be able to understand the life of a sixth sense client. I don't know that I'd ever do that. I have some strong views on being self-empowered in your own personal journey, but there are unique occasions where it might be helpful. And on those occasions, for example, I would absolutely want to know that whoever I referred a sixth-sensed client to was also sixth-sensed. So you see the divide. A sixth-sensed psychologist would be able to empathize and relate to a sixth-sensed client, whereas a five-sensed one would not.
Yes. Well, okay. Let me note that down here. You need this and that.
Yeah, so just tread carefully, here ones. Make sure that you find the absolute best healers for yourself if you're in need of healing. And one of those categories should be that if you need a healer, find one that is operating off the same amount or more senses than you are. So there we go. Is it important to know that you're sixth sense? You're damn right it is.
I have a little story about how you still won't understand as a sixth sense person.
Yeah.
So growing up as a sixth sense person, going through life, there was a stage where I was heavily medicated. And that medication locked my six senses. And one day I woke up 5 sensed.
Wow.
I still didn't understand them. It was still a horrible experience because I knew that my sixth sense had been snipped, had been blocked from me.
Wasn't it like losing a limb?
It was like losing a limb. I'm like, well, no, I'm walking fine. I can still use my fingers and I can see and I can smell and I can hear. And there's something missing. There's an appendage missing. There's the thing. I suddenly became aware of what I was missing without being able to put my finger on it. And then the panic sunk in. And then it was like, how do you live your life like this?
And a lot of sixth sense people get convinced to take medication
Whole bunch of stuff
that block the sixth sense.
And yes, I did get it back, but it took an incredible journey in which to do so.
And the tragedy there is that only once they start taking it do they realize how much they relied on their sixth sense. Because it's so intangible and because there's so little understanding of it. People aren't warned that this will happen. I had a similar experience. I was in my teens. It was decided that I should be put onto this little white pill, and I took it in the morning, and I was on the bus on the way to school, and I felt the world go silent.
Yep.
Everything I had ever known changed. And so I reached into my bag, I took out the little white pills, I threw them out the window because I knew that it was that pill that was doing this. And while it silenced everything, I could no longer feel what the people next to me were feeling. I could no longer feel the air. I knew that this was not, that these little pills were making me into somebody else. And I knew with certainty that healing for me meant becoming a whole person in my truth, in my authenticity, not becoming another person. Even in my young teenage self, that was a certainty for me. So we've been there, guys. We've been on this journey. We've seen both sides. And please, if you're sixth sensed, it's not that hard. There are tools. There are things you can use. There are even a lot of natural remedies you can use to quieten the noise if you need to. But cutting it off is just
really not a great option.
It's not a great option. We did find out recently that the global event I alluded to in a previous video, actually, it was an injectable intervention that went with that global event. And apparently that injectable has been found to calcify the pineal gland. It decimates the pineal gland. So when I said in our intro that I don't know how many were affected by that, what I also mean is there may be a lot out there, a lot of sixth sense people out there who have lost their sixth sense because of the injectable. So more research to come on that. We don't quite know where we are. I do know that there are things that one can do to repair that. So we'll go into that at another date. Anyway, there it is. Just wanted to say that's the why. That's one of the whys.
Yep.
Why you should know. Yeah?
Bye.